Hello, welcome back viewers and subscribers. Norando Brown here, your host, and as you can see, I'm brandishing my Chelsea jersey today proudly, as I'll be doing a preview of the 2021-2022 season. Let me know what you guys think. Who will take this one? Who will walk away as victors of the 2021-2022 season? Liverpool, their talisman Virgil van Dijk is back. Does that make them automatic title contenders even without any notable signings this summer? Possibly it could very well be their year to regain the title, but again, we'll get into that and more later on in the show. Before we go any further, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, check out the links in the description for my sponsors, Quick Link Shipping, RS Sports Store and CSA Shop. RS Sports Store, get in the game. They're the ones who got me this wonderful jersey, the best quality anywhere in Jamaica, and I can guarantee you that 100%. The best quality RS Sports Store, they have you covered, and they ship island wide as well, so you can check them out on Instagram at RS Sports Store. All right, so let's get to it. Who wins the 2021-2022 English Premier League season? We saw all the teams over the weekend, and sad to say, I wasn't impressed by some of the teams. I was most impressed by Manchester United, if I'm to be honest, and they were playing without Cavani, without Rashford, and their new signing, the man himself, Rafael Varane, who flew in from Real Madrid, he didn't play. He was unveiled to the Manchester United supporters on the day, but he didn't take part in the match day squad. So Manchester United, they put on a comprehensive show. They entertained us. It was a thrilling victory. Mason Greenwood, I love what I see every time he plays. I'm impressed even more. And personally, I don't think Sancho what was needed, but he is there now, and I hope his inclusion in the team doesn't mean at the expense of Mason Greenwood, because I think he's a fantastic talent, and as far as finishers go, he's definitely one to look out for. The Reggae Boys, they were looking towards him. The Jamaica Football Federation, I was told they made approaches to him, but again, nothing confirmed. I still don't think Greenwood would leave his hopes of representing the Three Lions in England to represent Jamaica, but we're yet to see. We're still waiting. He's a fantastic player and he's still young. He has youth on his side, so we'll see what comes what comes up for him this season, because I'm pretty sure he has a big season ahead of him. Bruno Fernandez basically picked up where he left off, and since he made his English Premier League debut, no one in the English Premier League has been involved in more goals. So again, fantastic talent. We didn't see as much of him when he was with Portugal on international duty in the Euros, but again, Bruno Fernandez with Manchester United, he's a different animal, and he showed that again on Saturday when Manchester United defeated Leeds. Paul Pogba, where do I start? Whenever we see Paul Pogba like this, it gives you goosebumps, because we know he has world-class talent. He possesses the talent of the world beater. He can do anything he wants on the day. He's physical, he can pick a pass, he can do everything in the game, but that slight lapse in concentration that we oftentimes bash him for, it's always there. And the inconsistency, that's what we talk about most time, because it's never been a question of his talent or what he's capable of doing. It's always been a matter of consistency, and that's what separates him from the likes of Kevin De Bruyne then. All right, so Paul Pogba on the day, he was fantastic. Bruno Fernandez, fantastic. Mason Greenwood, fantastic as well. And again, Manchester United still has a few players to come back into the squad. So Manchester United, I think we should keep an eye on them. They showed that they meant something on the weekend, and they intend on going all the way this season. All right, so enough about Manchester United. Again, as I said, I think they should be taken seriously, but I'll move on now to Liverpool. I think Liverpool, they gave a good showing on the day, but it was a game that I expected them to win. Was I impressed with the performance? I can't say. In comparison to the other teams I played at the weekend, I was least impressed with Manchester City and then Liverpool. So Liverpool may be second to bottom of the top four contenders, in my opinion. I think they went out there at times, they were a bit flat. They were a bit passive at times as well. But again, the opponents they were playing against didn't punish them as a result. And against stronger opposition, I think it would be a different case. Nonetheless, I think they did what they had to do. They beat the opponents that were in front of them. And Mohamed Salah, again, involved in the goals, still getting on the score sheet on opening day. I think he made it's a record because he's been involved. He's been on the score sheet on every opening day since he signed for Liverpool. So that's a fantastic record for him to have. And again, Mo Salah will only get better as this season progresses. The likes of Diego Jota, we saw him getting on the score sheet as well. I think Liverpool's squad is not as thin this season as it was last season. We're hoping they don't get as much injuries because we saw what injuries did to them last season. So if they can keep everyone fit this season, I expect them to do well and to give a good enough push for a top 4 position. Overall, I think the likes of Tsimikas stepping in for Robertson, he did okay, not being put under too much pressure. But again, you're playing next to Virgil van Dijk, who is arguably one of the best centre halves on the planet. So it was good to see Jurgen Klopp giving some other youngsters the opportunity to go out there and play, because Jurgen Klopp he's had the tendency of sticking to one starting 11 and give or take 2 other players from the bench. So it's good to see him getting some other players involved and getting them on the field of play. I hope he continues doing this throughout the season. Last season, the likes of Salah and Mane, they were tired, they were exhausted. At one point, they couldn't even find the back of the net. And this, in my opinion, was primarily due to the lack of rest that Jurgen Klopp was giving these players. And I know a lot of these players, they don't have capable replacements coming off the bench. Jurgen Klopp needs to be rotating the players more often. And if he does that, I think it would mean better when it comes down to the injury situations, as well as keeping the players fresh coming off the bench as well. I saw last season they were playing, I think, an FA Cup game or a League Cup game against Aston Villa, who sent out their under-18s because of a COVID crisis, and Jurgen Klopp sent out Mohamed Salah and Sadio Mane. So it's situations like these where you're expecting to see squad players, and yet Klopp is still sending out a strong team or an A team when it's an opportunity to rest some of these individuals. Because if we're to be realistic, like all the top teams in the English Premier League, they'll be competing in maybe 4 leagues or 3 leagues minimum throughout the season. They'll be playing up to like 58, 56 games. So that's a whole lot of games. And what that means is it's an opportunity for other players in the squad to go out there and to show what they're capable of. And I think if Jurgen Klopp plays his cards correctly this season, he has a chance. He'll have a shot at it, at getting back the English Premier League title. I'll get into how I expect the league to finish. But again, I'll be moving on to Manchester City. I think on the day Manchester City, I don't know. I was embarrassed really, because this was the most expensive starting lineup fielded. I think the squad on the day was worth what, $500 million or close to $1 billion, somewhere there. But it was it was one of the most expensive squads assembled in the English Premier League history. And Tottenham Hotspur, who were playing without a striker, who played with a false 9, as Manchester City did on the day, were able to go out there and to nullify the threats they threw at them. The likes of Japhet Tanganga, who broke into the team under Jose Mourinho, was fantastic on the day, and I think he even got man of the match. And it's things like these that make you question what exactly is happening. Is it a ploy, or was it a ploy by Pep Guardiola to show the board that, okay, you need to cough up the cash and get Harry Kane, because see, we're struggling without an out-and-out striker. But there's also the argument to be made that Manchester City won the league last year without an out-and-out striker, because Aguero, he played a handful of games. Gabriel Jesus, he barely got a kick, and yet they still were able to lift the English Premier League title. So again, we're still waiting to see if Manchester City will cough up that £160 million that Daniel Levy asked for. Daniel Levy, he refused to give any quotes to the media earlier this week, and we're waiting to see what becomes of that situation. Harry Kane, he was included in the Conference League squad for Tottenham Hotspur, which is expected, but we are yet to see him feature for Tottenham this season, and we're hoping to see him at the weekend. Nonetheless, I think Tottenham, they played their cards right on the weekend. Nuno Espirito, it was the dream start to his Tottenham Hotspur career, and I think with the 60,000 fans in the Tottenham Hotspur new stadium, it was a good first impression for him to leave on the fans. I think Manchester City, they were deplorable on the day. Benjamin Mendy, he was atrocious. They just didn't play anything whatsoever, and with injuries scared to Gundogan, we're still waiting to see what will come in next week. Playing Torres as a false nine just didn't work out for Pep Guardiola, and we saw where he tried to switch it up a little towards the end, still didn't yield any result, and I think they didn't threaten Tottenham Hotspur enough on the day, because Tottenham Hotspur, a team that is now struggling with the defenders they have Eric Dyer, who isn't an out-and-out centre-half playing as a centre-half, and he was able to restrict Manchester to minimum chances or to kick in from outside the box. It says something, and it's a properly drilled team, Tottenham Hotspur. Do I think they will contend? No. I think a Europa League place at best, but they did what they had to do against Pep Guardiola, arguably the best manager in the game right now, and Manchester City, arguably the best team in England. So Manchester City, they were the worst team on day one. I think they will still be in the running. They started off slow last season as well, but they picked up to the end and ultimately lifted the trophy. All right, so we'll get to the lineup just after I speak about Chelsea. Last but not least, of the 4 contenders that I have in the running, Chelsea, I think on the day they did well. Again, the opponents have to be taken into consideration, because Patrick Vieira, he recently took over Crystal Palace, and he's not had that much time to work with the players. He said it after the game that the team has a lot of work to do, and we saw that they weren't pressing Chelsea any at all. Chelsea had, I think, 70-something% of the ball, which was abysmal in my opinion. And they started Mateta instead of Benteke. Again, Benteke finished last season on a high. So it's questionable decisions as it relates to personnel, as well as questionable decisions as it relates to how the team was set up. He opted for a 4-3-3, which oftentimes mean that they were going to go for it. They didn't go for it. Their first shot on goal, I think, came in the 60th minute, 58th minute, thereabout. So again, at no point was I feeling that they were going to score against Chelsea, or was the Chelsea defenders stretched or made to worry. I think Trevor Chalobah, on the day, it was his debut, and he looked like a world-class defender on the day, and that's because of how Crystal Palace were playing. So again, Thomas Tuchel, his first game back in the English Premier League, he's on the high of the UEFA Champions League and the Super Cup. So coming back, he would have had his sight on winning that game. First impression, again, the fans at Stamford Bridge, they were returning for the first time in 18 months. So Thomas Tuchel wanted to leave a good impression, and he did just that. I think Chelsea were fantastic on the day. They were spotless, really. There is, if I'm to be ultra critical, there are 1 or 2 issues that I could pick out in the midfield, but I won't get into that. I think they were flawless for the most part, and it was a professional performance. In the absence of their record signing, Romelu Lukaku, I expected to get only better from here based on that performance that I saw. All right, so that's a full overview on all the teams that are expected to be challenging for the English Premier League title for the 2021-2022 season. Now, who do I think will win the English Premier League? All right, I think coming in 4th place will be Liverpool. I think Liverpool, they didn't boast of the squad, and considering they'll be challenging on all fronts, I think this squad that they have is currently too thin to compete with the likes of their other 3 opponents. I know they won the English Premier League with this said squad, but again, the other teams have strengthened, they have not, and as a result, I think they will struggle to mount a serious enough challenge for the English Premier League title for this season. And as a result, I have Liverpool finishing 4th place. All right, in 3rd place, I have Manchester City. I think if Manchester City doesn't get Harry Kane, which is the situation as things stand now, they don't have Harry Kane, I think they'll finish in third place. I think Jack Grealish, fantastic player. He's very, very competent. He gives 100% on the day, and also, most importantly, his style of play is different from what Manchester City does. I think over time, it will come to him. He'll change his game a little bit to adjust to the Manchester City way, as we saw with Mahrez and the other players that they've brought in. But as things stand now, he's just not it for Manchester City. I think they needed Harry Kane more than they needed Jack Grealish. And they have so many players that are capable of doing what Jack Grealish is doing, that them going out and spending 100 million pounds on Jack Grealish was really absurd, in my opinion. Will he do well? Possibly. He will lift trophies, that's for sure. And every player wants to lift trophies. But I don't think he improved Manchester City's team. And even if he did improve them, I don't think he improved them by much. I think Harry Kane was main priority. He still is main priority, and he will improve them from being a third place challenger, in my opinion, to real title challengers as it relates to getting to the pinnacle. All right, so Manchester City to finish third, in my opinion. In second place, I have Manchester United. Yes, I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, he has an idea of how he wants a team to play. He's had the dressing room buzzing. The players, they love him. The fans love him. Us on the outside looking in, we probably are questioning his tactics when he's under a bit of pressure. But again, I think he's done well enough for himself. Still not fully convinced by his capabilities or his credentials to coach Manchester United as one of the biggest clubs in the world. But he has a job. He's gotten an extension on his contract as well. The likes of Paul Pogba, who didn't renew his contract and whose contract expires next year, I think he'll want to leave if he's leaving. Well, more than likely he'll be leaving on a high. And as such, I think this will be one of Pogba's best seasons at Manchester United. One, because he has a point to prove. Two, because he wants to make himself as marketable as possible, to negotiate that blockbuster deal come the end of the season. So I think Manchester United will finish second. I think Jadon Sancho will do well. Also, he's the new signing they brought in. I think he offers something different that Manchester United didn't have. I think Anthony Martial, he just wasn't it. He faded off. His off the field issues, too often they got tied up in his football. And I think getting in Jadon Sancho was the right decision from Manchester United. And as a result, they will finish second. In first place, and this is not because it's my club, has nothing to do with the reason I selected Chelsea to win the English Premier League for the 2021-2022 season. Sorry. I think Chelsea will win the English Premier League this season, and the reasons are, I think Romelu Lukaku is the missing piece of the puzzle. We saw what Thomas Tuchel wants to do with his team. There's no two games that he approaches the same. He approaches the game based on what is in front of him and not because of what he likes or what he likes within his team. So he sets up his team based on the opponent he's going up against, and each of these teams that he's setting up is to go out there and to beat these specific opponents. Romelu Lukaku, we spoke about it in his first interview on Chelsea TV, and I think Lukaku coming into this team that has created so many chances, an abundance of chances, but without a focal point up top. I think he will feast on goals. I expect him to be in the running for the Golden Boots this season as well. And I think it both makes for good headlines as well as for if we're even to talk about destiny. I think it is Lukaku's destiny to come back to where it started and to win the English Premier League. So I have Chelsea to win the English Premier League, Manchester United to finish second, Manchester City third, Liverpool fourth. That's my opinion. Let me know what you guys think. Drop it in the comment section. Norando Brown again here saying from HalftimeTv, thanks for tuning in with us. for the last few minutes or so while I shared my thoughts on the top 4 contenders. Let us know in the comment section. Leave a like, you can share. Let us know what your top 4 teams are and in what order. Will Chelsea win it? Can Chelsea win it? Can Manchester City get that Harry Kane deal over the line and mount a serious enough challenge for the English Premier League? Does Pep Guardiola and the $1 billion that he's spent, do they have a chance of regaining the English Premier League this season? Let me know in the comment section. As always, your thoughts are welcomed. Your opinions are welcomed as well. All right. Until next time, Norando Brown here saying, peace out, guys. Bye-bye.